What's up, everybody? This is Tommy McAllister, and welcome to High Level Husband Podcast, Episode 2. And today, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Dianne.
Hi.
Now, I'm stoked for this one because, I'm the one who normally leads this podcast, and I do a lot of the talking and a lot of the coaching. But Dianne is obviously a coach inside of our program and coaches our clients, but we have different roles, and that's a beautiful part. Just like a marriage, we got to have different roles, right?
That's right.
So I just wanted to bring her on here today and to share her testimony, share her story, and to kind of inspire other men or women on how that it doesn't matter where you are at in life, that you can always have levels of growth, right? We always think that, well, this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be forever, and I really can't change, and this, that, and the other. But we really can, because Dianne, as I always say, is my favorite transformation, because she did it so much later in life. We're both 41 years old now, but Dianne's transformation really started about 2.5 years ago, and so it's motivating for me to hear her talk about it, and I know it'll inspire other people who maybe are struggling, if their spouses are maybe struggling a little bit in life, and they're a little bit more of a high achiever, higher energy, or just maybe found their purpose a little bit more than their spouse. And so just challenging you guys to hold them accountable and love on them and do all of that to help them realize their potential. And so that's what this episode is really about. So I'm going to have her share so much about it. But so I just kind of want to dive into it. We've been coaching, I've been coaching personally for about 9 years now. We started off as fitness and nutrition coaches, but Dianne really joined about 2.5 years ago into the company, which was awesome because, I don't want to steal the spotlight, babe, but once you dive in, just kind of tell them what you were doing for the first 19 years of your adult life.
Oh my goodness. So I, at the age of 20, started a job that I was working at for 19 years. I was a bookkeeper. I started off at an entry-level position, making $7 an hour, I think, and thought I'd be there for a couple of years and end up 19 years later still in the same job.
Right. And I mean, it was a great job. It was great. We were from a small town, and it was a great company. They took great care of her.
Yeah.
But it would be the typical, you're stuck in this job, and I'm not throwing her under the bus, or if you make this type of money that she was only making about $36,000 a year, which, that's, like I said, it's not dogging you if that's where you're at. If that provides for your lifestyle, if that gives you a little bit extra money to put a little bit away for savings, to have a little bit of fun here and there, then that's amazing. But for a family of four, that's not going to get it done in this day and age, right? Especially we lived in California. We weren't living in, a third world country. That was California prices. And so it just wasn't making it happen. I made more money than her. Majority of my life. Only time I didn't was when I started this business, and that was tough because she was the breadwinner on $36,000 a year. That wasn't a fun time per se, but at the same time, what was needed was in growth in so many areas. But I watched her get stuck in this career because they took good care of her. But the same reason that company was kind of stuck, till to this day, it's kind of funny, right? They still...
My boss used to type up payroll checks and everything on a typewriter.
Still to this day, 2 years ago, and I guarantee you they're still doing it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it's 2022. When she left there, it was 2020? 2020. Anyways,
yeah,
and they were still on a typewriter.
Yeah.
They didn't do QuickBooks or anything.
No, a lot of our jobs were done on a typewriter.
And so that's what I'm saying. The company got complacent with their business, and they were doing well, right? They were doing good, but they got stuck behind times, and that limited Dianne, because when it was time for her to join in on this, we didn't have a plan B, because if it didn't work, and I wasn't going to be was a bookkeeper, but she did it all by handwriting, all by typewriter. And so, it was crazy. So we were like, you don't really have a skill set that you can just go say, hey, I have 19 years, I'm computer literate, QuickBooks, all these things that people want you to have these days if you're going to go do it for somebody else. She would have to be taught that, and nobody's going to pay her a good salary to be taught that. And so that was scary for us when you left that job.
That's true. Very true. There was very little that we did on computer, and we were just stuck in the dinosaur ages.
Which is what we always, we're big on mindset and faith and all this, as you guys know. And, we've kind of looked at why did you get stuck in this job for so long? Because we lived in a small town where no growth was happening. That was reason number one, right?
It was comfortable, you
know?
I enjoyed the people I work with. My job was all right, and I got comfortable.
Right, and tell me that just had you excited every day for life, and you just loved it and thought every day was the best day of your life, right?
No, the most exciting part was just seeing the people that I enjoyed seeing every day, and that was it.
Literally, life was Groundhog Day every single day
Yeah.
of the year for us. I mean, sure, when it came to summer or certain times of the year, the seasons, those days changed a little bit because maybe we could go on a hike or something if it wasn't raining. But the city we lived in, it rained majority of the year. And so we were stuck, and I watched her. And as I started growing and evolving, I watched her stay this exact same person. And it was hard for me because I was growing and I was almost, in a weird way, I hate to say it, but outgrowing my spouse because she was stuck at a job. She had zero hobbies, literally zero hobbies, babe.
My hobbies were being a mom and a wife.
And I know some of you Karens out there are going to come in here and say, well, that's a job in itself and that's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's a very extremely hard job to be a mom and a wife as well, too.
And a dad.
And a dad. Exactly. Yeah. Same thing.
But that doesn't mean that's where you stop.
Right.
Right? That doesn't mean that that's all you do in life. Right. Now, for certain people, and it's a very, 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 very small percentage, that's what you'll do, right? Because most people, and we see this in marriages all the time, if a man or a female becomes a stay-at-home parent, they end up losing a lot of happiness over the years because they lose their sense of self-worth and their purpose. They're not just called to just stay home and do laundry and pick the kids up and be a chaperone and make their husband dinner and things like that. And that's, like I said, it's a beautiful thing. She still does that. I still do certain things like that. But we're still business owners and doing things like that. And so I was watching her just kind of go through this, not excited about things, right? Like I had hobbies and I would go do, and I would hang out with friends and I would have all these things and we would hang out. But then I was like, babe, what do you want to do? Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, babe, if you could do anything in life, like what would it be?
I don't know.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah. I really didn't know either.
Right. And she rarely hung out with friends. She rarely did anything. She would try working out. She would fall off. She would, and she would do all these things because she just had no excitement because she was lost, and not lost like in a dark, dark spot, but just in that spot in the middle where you just don't know. And that in good is the robber of great. And that's where she was. And I would say good to mediocre. I would say B-. It was Dianne was B-.
But Dianne thought she was better than that.
Right. And so,
I thought I was doing great,
until she started living
until I
great.
got better.
And it was like, oh, I can't believe I stayed there for so long. And that's why I say she's my number one thing. But so over the years, you guys already know my transformation and how I did it. But this is just hers. So a few years ago, we were just in a spot where we were needing something to change. And it was a joking thing that we said. It was my shout out to my guy, James Calderon, who's an amazing coach as well. And he said, we were joking around one night. It was his birthday. He was at my house and we were having some laughs. And we joked that Dianne should join the company and just be the nutrition part of things for us. And then like a light went off. And then we were like, let's run with it. And we ran with it. And here we are a few years later with her as part of the company. But, now, it's evolved to such a big, big thing. As, the marriage thing that we're doing. And it's just been cool to see her get out of that complacence. What was the biggest eye-opening thing for you once we got to Henderson and you were starting to go through the growth process, which, it wasn't easy, right? Like, tell them it wasn't easy, but it was worth it, right? Tell me your thoughts and processes on that, because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Oh, yeah. It was difficult at first because I was used to working the same job for 19 years, and that's all I knew for the most part. So becoming an entrepreneur and, just in a whole lifestyle change of being home and working from home and all these changes and learning something new was definitely a challenge. But, oh my goodness, was it worth it along the way?
Yeah, it's tough during the moment because I still remember a time I was sitting on the couch here in Henderson in our house, and it was a grind time because it's not like you just start a business and it's just like gasoline on a fire and you're just like, woohoo, you're just making all this money and stuff. No, you have to find you, and that's what God does is he's going to mold you. He just isn't going to be like, okay, sweet, you want to do this? Here's like every tool you need that you already own them, all the tools and this thing. No, like you need to prove your worth. You need to give God something to work with and something to respect. And we had to show that. We had to show our faithfulness. We had to grow in so many areas. And I was sitting on the couch, and Dianne came in from whatever she was doing out in the city. And I just remember her walking over and just had tears in her eyes and laid her head on my lap and was like, I don't know if I can do this. And that was hard for me, right? But that to me was like, let's go. I'm not gonna fail her. Yeah. That's her telling me, I need you to support me. I need you to tell me it's going to be okay, and I need you to show me that it's going to be okay. I can't just tell you. I had to show her.
Yeah.
So, some of the biggest talks that we've had over the years, we don't argue. Very, 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 it's probably been 10 years or more since we've argued.
Yeah.
And so all the people out there that start arguing is just a part of marriage and that's just what you do. Like, you crazy. You crazy. No, it's what you do when you're not fully happy in life and fully. Now, are you going to have little nudges bumping each other and working through them? Yeah.
Yeah, stern conversations are okay.
Like a passionate discussion is
Yeah.
what I like to
Yes,
call them.
yeah.
Or shout out to my our friends Ben and Melissa. That's what they like to call them as well, as passionate discussions. But it's not us yelling and it's not calling each other names. It's nothing even near. It's just. But even then, it's very few and far between. Only discussions we usually have that are passionate are on business, because we're business partners. And I have had to give her some of my best speeches ever in my life, which I wish I recorded.
Me too, because they were good.
Just having to motivate her and telling her, like, you have to choose your heart. You can go back to the person you were, working a regular job, clocking in, them telling you when you can take a bathroom break, them telling you when you can have a day off, them telling you what your schedule is going to be like, them telling you how much money you can make, them telling you everything. They own you. Or you can decide if this is what you want to do and you can continue living your dreams. You still get working out and going to the gym at any time of the day you want. You can still put passion. You can control how much money you make. You can go out and show your kids that they can live their dreams. Because if you decide to go back, guess what? You're showing your kids it's okay to give up. Because I knew that's what she didn't want.
No,
And
I was just going through a transition period.
And that's okay to feel those pains. This morning I was having a Bible study with a couple of brothers from my neighborhood here, and it was awesome because he shared a story. Was talking with a younger girl. I mean, I hate to say that another younger girl, but she's in her 20s, right? And she was just like, I'm kind of struggling right now. And he goes, hey, open the Bible right now and tell me, show me the verse that says that we're not meant to struggle at all. And she's like, oh my God, you're right. And she's like, I don't have to be happy at all times. And it's like, no, there's times when the struggle is beneficial to us. That's just what it is. And so we got to have these struggles that come. It's about how we react to those struggles, right? And it's okay to have those fears of like, because our brain's going to try to be comfortable and tell us, oh, maybe it's best if I just go back to a regular job. That'll be easier. No, it's not going to be easier. At first it might, because you have to relieve some stress, but down the road it's going to be terrible. And I'm not saying if you work a regular job, I'm not dogging that. I'm just saying for Dianne and her journey, that wasn't what it was for her. That would have been her giving up on something she wanted. But if you have a regular type job, that's amazing. As long as you wake up every day truly fulfilled and truly happy, then I don't care what your job is. Literally, I tell my kids, I don't care if you want to just go work at the gas station down the street for the rest of your life.
If that's what makes you happy.
If you are fully fulfilled, happy, raising an amazing family, teaching them great morals and values, you just are so excited for life every day and you're living a kingdom-driven life, then by all means, get after it. Do that. But I knew that wasn't her, and so I had to reach down and motivate her and show her, like, babe, like, what are you willing to do for these things that you want? Because there's three types of people in this world: people who make things happen, people who want things to happen, and people who watch things to happen. Right? Which one are you gonna be?
The make.
Right? Because if you're just gonna watch other people do things happen, that's you just watching TV or watching HGTV and just going, man, that house really looks nice. I would love to move, but I just really can't. No, you can.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think one of the more frustrating things is like, what are you willing to do? So oftentimes, a lot of people reach out to us in our direct messages on our socials. And they're just like, man, I really need help with my relationship. I hear you guys have this high-level husband and wife program. Tell me about it. So we give them a little info on it, this, that, and the other. And we like to ask questions. And one of the questions is, obviously, tell me about what's going on and what you're struggling with, blah, 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 blah. They tell us they're struggling. Marriage is in a really bad spot. Okay. Then I always ask them, a few other questions. And then one of the last things is, what would it mean for you to have that back? Oh, it mean the world to me. And I always say, well, what are you willing to do to make it happen? And
anything.
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 Whatever.
It's the most important thing.
Whatever it takes, anything. I truly would do anything to make it happen. Is what 100% of the people say. 100. Not just a few. All of them say that.
Yeah.
And then we challenge them. And then we obviously to work with us one-on-one, like where you have extreme access to us, or we get one-on-ones with us regularly and it's multi-months. It's a heavy investment. I'm not going to lie. But we're truly kingdom driven. We don't want to leave anybody behind. So we have an entry level program that's about $3 a day, which is less than a coffee at Starbucks.
Which most people get every day.
Right. And so I'll tell them that. I'll be like, cool, let's get you started on the entry level program. And if we feel like you need a little bit more, we can talk about what that looks like. All of them say, most of the people go, oh, that's just a little too much out of my range. So you're talking like $100 a month, right? And they say, it's just, oh man, that's too much money. I can't afford it. I'm like, dude, you just told me your marriage is about to be in the dumps and failing. And you told me you would really like what we provide and you feel that we're the ones to guide you there. And you tell us that you're doing whatever it takes to get there. Whatever it takes. Anything, they said. And then
clearly not.
$100. Literally, that's a joke. And I'm not saying that's a lot of money to everybody. It's a lot of money to us.
But when your marriage is on the line,
dude,
$100 is nothing.
You should be literally willing to go to the bank and say, I will sell my house right now and take all the money and invest it in the world's best marriage coach. And I'm not saying that's us or whoever else. I'm just saying I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm. I'd be riding a bike to work.
Whatever you got to do to save your marriage. I didn't say what would you do so you could have a cool tattoo. I said, what are you going to do to save your marriage? Because it's not about your marriage. It's about now most of those people have kids. And if you watch your marriage in such a bad spot, your kids are being negatively affected right now. So if you're not willing to change your kid's life either for $100, like, yo, fool, you tripping. And forgive me for saying that, but like that's what I want to tell them. Of course, I tell them a little more lovingly and whatnot, but that's what I want to say. Because, and this isn't us being cool. Like when I quit my job 9 years ago, might be closer to 10 now. We literally, reason why we have an amazing marriage is she supported me on that. I said, babe, things are changing at work. I really want to pursue this entrepreneurship that I'm called for, that God's calling me for, and I know that I'm meant and destined for. What do you think? She says, let's do it. She didn't say, oh, no, go get a different job and just suck it up. We got bills to pay. Because we did. We had a mortgage and 2 young kids. Yeah. And she was only making $36,000 a year, which wasn't going to cover that, by the way. And so what did we do? We turned off our cable TV, right?
Unscrewed light bulbs
around the house to save power, which probably saved us $5 a month.
But that was $5 a month.
$5 right there, right? Sweet, we just saved $5.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, what's that? That's $60 we just saved from the screwing light bulbs.
We didn't go out to eat.
Not for 1 year did we go out to eat for a year.
Unless somebody else was taking us.
Right, something like that. But even then, we're not
like
the type
parent.
Of person to let anybody do that for us. We let them know that that's not our mission right now. And we were willing to do that for a year to be able to do what we needed to do. And then, like I've told you guys before, once we moved here and our backs were up against the wall and we needed to make another move, what we did, we sold our car. And this is just for our business. What are you willing to do to save your marriage? Let's just say it's not even the marriage. What are you willing to do to change your life? Because if you're not saying that every day is an A life and you're super excited, what are you willing to do to change your life? Really? Like, let me know. Because you should be saying anything. Plus, I guarantee you're eating out multiple times a week. I guarantee you're probably having coffees out multiple times a week. I guarantee you have Netflix, HBO, Amazon Prime. You have cable TV.
A smartphone.
You have a smartphone with multiple apps that have subscriptions on them. You have Wi-Fi. You have all of this stuff, which guarantee, guess what? You can do with all of that. Maybe you can't do without a smartphone, but you could have an iPhone 8 and it would get you through. You don't need an iPhone 13. I know people still to this day who have iPhones 8s who could easily afford iPhone 13s, and they just roll with them because they're like, whatever. I have friends who are high-level therapists and literally drive the most junky car because it's reliable, but it's literally like 20 years old, hubcaps missing, paint just falling off of it, and they could easily afford a dope ride, but they don't because they know where their priorities lie. Because we get lost into what we're trying to make others happy rather than making ourselves happy. We got to have the dope ride because we want to make them happy rather than make ourselves happy. Now, I get it if you're a car person, which I'm not really a car person. It's growing on me a little bit. If you have a dope car, because you just love cars, you read car magazines, you watch YouTubes on cars, it's been your life, you love working on them. Hey, I get that. That maybe is a passion for you. But a lot of people care less about cars. They don't know how to put air in their tire, but that they want to roll the Range Rover because they want their neighbors going, yo, Stevie's dope. He's so cool. He rides a Range Rover. When at the end of the day, your neighbor don't care. He care less.
And you shouldn't either.
Right. Now, if you can afford that, and that's where you're at, and you're thriving in all other areas, I'm not dogging that. But when you're choosing that over growing yourself, right?
Or your marriage.
Or your marriage, that's where the problem lies. And so that's why I say Diane's my thing. Like she came out 19 years and said, okay, I'm done. I'm done with that. She's grown. And still to this day, the very first coaching thing she had to reach out to somebody about, the person basically told her some pretty harsh stuff. And she was crying to me in the bathroom of our old house in Eureka. And she says, I can't do this. Mm-hmm. Was that hard?
Oh, it was extremely hard. And I needed a pep talk after that. But you know what? You just have to pick yourself up and do it again.
And then the next time it happens, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be a little less hard.
Yeah.
And then a little less hard, a little less hard, and then after a while, you just don't care.
Yeah.
And that's just what it goes through. That's part of it. There's going to be hardness when you go. It's like if you're trying to lose weight and you get on that scale the first week and you didn't lose anything, guess what you're going to do? You're going to quit. Or if you only lost 2 pounds, you're going to quit. But what most people don't realize is 2 pounds is the max you should really lose a week. Unless you're extremely obese and it's your first week losing weight. Then you lose more, but then the weeks after that, it should be about 2 pounds for the rest of it. At max, 2 pounds. But people want more, and so they get frustrated or they see the pain and they don't want to do it. I get it. It hurts.
And it's hard.
Our head has gone through the meat grinder more time than we can count. And that's not us that we're cool. It's just that, I don't know, either we're dumb or we just have the Holy Spirit with us, right? That's telling us, hey, it'll be okay.
Keep going.
You got to just keep going. And that's what we do. That's what a high-level husband does. That's what a high-level wife does. And so if you're in a position right now where you see your spouse that's maybe not at the level they want to be, challenge them. Not in a rude way, lovingly. A person who holds somebody accountable loves them far more than the person who lets them settle and stay the same. If you're letting your spouse look in the mirror every day and go, ugh, I hate what I see. Or, oh, they're coming home and they're complaining about their boss. Oh, and they're just complaining about that. That's them telling you crying for help.
Mm-hmm.
Crying for help. Now there's a way to navigate that and lovingly do that. But that's on you as well because you're a team. The Bible says two become one. But a marriage is 3 ways. It's you, it's them, and it's you both together. It's like a triangle. But that's how the team forms. You got to be 100% happy. They have to be 100% happy. And then you combine that 100% to make 200%. But if you see them struggling, you're just going to let them struggle? No. And they're going to tell you, I don't want to do that. But guess what? They wouldn't let their kids struggle. If their kids are crying or struggling or getting bad grades or something's going on, guess what that same parent who's struggling themselves is going to do? They're going to lift that child up. They're going to support them. But here's the caveat, the twist to that. Do they do it for themselves? No. And by that, what's that going to do for the kids? It's going to make them stay the exact same. Because they're going to go, yo, mom, or hey, dad, you're not doing that. You see, I come from a family where one of my parents would say, don't do as I do as I say. And that when they would tell me that, whew, my blood would boil. Oh, my blood would boil. And still to this day, I have less respect for that person because they would say that. Because they were telling me to do one thing, and they were living a completely different lifestyle. So do you think I actually took value into what they said? I said, no way. I said, you're tripping. I said, I don't want to listen to you. You're not doing anything you say. Why would I listen to you? So do you think your spouse is going to listen to you if you're not being high level? Like, so for example, Diane, this would be a great one, right? If I was pushing you, but yet I was chilling, watching TV and doing nothing, and after I'm like, hey, babe, you need to grow this business and do all these things, but I wasn't doing anything, would have you made it happen?
Not a chance.
No, you wouldn't have made it happen, but you wouldn't have been able to.
No, I would have been like, well, what are you doing, you know?
She would have called me out, and she wouldn't have been able to be the person she is today. And I am going to take ownership in this. It's twofold. It's God and it's myself that got her to where she's at today. She got herself there too because she kept going. She's become an amazingly strong person, but I had to lead the way.
Yeah, I needed my supportive spouse to help me walk me through it.
Yeah, I had to lead the way
Mm-hmm.
and show her this is how it's done. Like, she's seen me close to tears. She's seen me hurting. But we had to lead the way. Because quitters don't ever win. And winners don't ever quit. That doesn't mean winners don't ever lose. They just don't quit. So, what are you? Are you a winner? Are you a loser? Right? How are you leading your kids? Are you telling your kids, hey, go out and play this game today and it doesn't matter if you win or lose? Like, it doesn't matter if they win or lose, but tell them to just go out and try their hardest, right? That's what matters. Now, if they're not
Mm-hmm.
trying their hardest, then they're a loser and they deserve to lose. But if they're trying the hardest and they lose, that's okay. That should drive them to get better, right? Like, I try to be better every single day. The only person I'm trying to be better than every day is the person I was the day before. And if I feel at the end of the next day that I wasn't, I call myself out. I said, bro, like, you didn't do anything today that made you better. But that's why I have systems and routines in place that I make sure I check off every single day. I've got 8 or 9 things that I make sure I do every day that are personal, spiritual, and physical habits that I do every single day, non-negotiable. I don't care if we have COVID, family members dying, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get them done. And here's how I knew Dianne became high level. So it's almost been a year, and her stepdad, who basically is her real dad, you know, we love her real dad, but he's barely a part of her life, and that's a personal choice of his. And her stepdad basically raised her, what was he, since you're about 5?
Yeah, somewhere right in there, 5, 6.
Super close relationship. Ever since we started dating, he was the man in the house. I became really close to him. To this day, he's arguably one of my favorite persons that I've ever met in my life, people.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, one of the most people I've ever respected in my whole life. And he died of cancer last year at 70 years old, and it was out of the blue because he lived a really healthy lifestyle for the most part, and he died of cancer. And that was her dad, right? Very close. And they live in Oregon and we live in Nevada, so farther away. When you flew up there, tell me about your habits and routines when you would go and visit him before he died, and then when you had to fly up there to support your mom when he died. Tell me about
I
your
was
habits.
still doing all my things. I was still waking up, reading the Bible. I was still doing a workout. I brought my bands, worked out in their shed when it was freezing. I still did all my daily routines, even there.
Still coached her clients, still
Yeah.
did that. She didn't text them and say, hey, I'm out of town, my dad just died, I'm going to need some days, I'm going to do this. No, because she knew what got me to this point was consistency, my habits, my routines. And I'm not going to let even a death knock me off that. Because Jesus said on the cross, it is finished. Jesus already won. So even though he died, we know where he's going. But she didn't let it knock him off. Is that a sad time? Yeah, of course. She's not going to see him ever again while we're on this earth. Her mom, who they have an amazing relationship, is going through a hard time. That was their best friend. Like, they literally have a relationship like Dianne and I have. So they're supporting her, but still kept her stuff going.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't make excuses. But guess what? Diane's dad died on like November 17th. Dianne came home. Literally, I was flying out a few days later to go race a national event that I've been training for, and I knew was up for the title for my first time in my whole life.
States away.
She flew then, a couple days later, flew there to meet me and spend a week out in Oklahoma to support me, still coaching, still getting her workout, still doing everything out there. Well, we got COVID on the last day we were there. We fly home and have COVID for the next month, and we still got in all the stuff that we said we were going to do. 10,000 steps a day. Because we made a vow we were going to do it for a year, which we just finished, and we're still going. We're on almost day 400 in a row of 10,000 steps. She still did it. Her dad died at the Grand. She's still doing it. Comes home, gets COVID, and we just didn't have a little bit of it. We got hit pretty hard.
But we'd still be walking around the living room trying to get our steps in at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night.
To do it. Because she said she was going to do it. And that's how you become high level. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. So many people these days tell you it's going to be okay. So a while ago, and this is just who I am. because I know how it is to hurt. One of the biggest things in my life was I was a quitter. I was a big time quitter. If something was going good, I would quit because it was foreign territory for me. I was a quitter. I would self-sabotage time and time and time again. Or if success didn't happen and it wasn't happening, I would quit because, well, it's not happening right away. I would quit. I would self-sabotage. But I had to become a winner to be able to become who I am today. And that took habits and consistency to be able to do that. And then I taught Dianne that same things, and we started doing those things and implementing them into our life on these things. And that's how we got to where we are at, is by just saying, dude, like, you can't stay there. And so when I put out stuff on social media, sometimes I just keep it real, because if I sugarcoat it, you're not going to get the truth. You're not going to get what you need. And do people get mad sometimes with the things I say? Sure. Does it hurt when people tell me these harsh things back at times? Sure. I think we all want to be liked. But Jesus reminds us in John 15 that he was hated on this earth first. And so a while ago, like I said, we just finished 10,000 steps every single day for a year, and we're still going. That wasn't like, oh, well, no, we missed a few days here and there. No, like every day, not one day.
Yeah, every single day.
And I watched certain people, and I had a friend of mine, and she said, hey, I'm trying to do 6,000 steps a day. And this was probably 8 months ago she put this out. And she said, oh, but it was a rough day today, a long day. I just wasn't able to get it. I'm bummed. She was on day 5. And she's like, I stopped at 3,000, which, just mind you, 3,000 steps is pretty much you sitting on your butt all day long. Like, if it's literally just you walking to go to the bathroom, to the fridge, to to take a shower, all of that will give you 3,000 steps. So it's just a long day. I didn't get it in today. And her feed blew up with people saying, that's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. You'll do great then. You'll get after it. No worries. Put this day behind you. And I get in there and I said, no. I said, no, don't listen to these people, because those are the same people who are holding you back. And why do they want to hold you back? Because misery loves company, and misery wants you to join them at that spot where they're not succeeding in life. And so if you want to be able to do it, you have to be hard on yourself and say, no matter what, I'm getting my 6,000 steps in, because to get those last 3,000 steps, it's 11:30 at night is what I told her. I said, go walk for 10 minutes and you'll have 3,000 other steps. Maybe it's 20 minutes at best. You can't tell me you can't 11:30 night go walk 20,000 steps and go to bed a champion and wake up a champion, because you're going to go to bed that night being so depressed that you didn't do it. And when first thing you wake up in your morning, you go, man, if I had just put in an extra 20 minutes yesterday, I'd feel like a champion. Mm-hmm. But all these other people are telling you, don't go be a champion. They don't want you to be a champion because they're struggling. They're hurting. They're living a mediocre life. And why do they want to see you win? They don't want to see you win because it hurts them when you win, because they know they're hurting. So you got to go do it. If you say you're going to do something, you have to do it. And if you don't do it, then guess what's going to happen? Your relationship's going to be terrible, because your spouse is going to go, hey, they're saying they're going to do things and they never do it. So they're not going to trust you, ever. So if you say, I'm going to do this, then you know you're not. You ain't going to do that. We already know. Because you always say it, and you don't do it. You fall off. And I had another person one time, a long, lifelong friend. God bless her. But here's the thing, she needs to lose 300 pounds. And one day, I can't remember what post it was. I said something about, it was that person I just commented about the steps. I put a post out, but I didn't call this person out. I said, well, if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. And this person who needs to lose 300 pounds chimed in and said, no, that's not what it's about. It's about having a goal rather than accomplishing that goal.
Mind blowing.
I said, you tripping. I didn't, in a roundabout way, I didn't tell that to her, but I said, that's how you need to lose 300 pounds, because you have a goal of losing 300 pounds and you're not doing it. The same person has told me that for years, that they're trying to lose weight. And I've watched them and they've posted about it. But guess what? They haven't lost any weight, because they're not consistent, because they don't make it non-negotiable. It's why they smoke cigarettes. It's why they drink alcohol regularly, because they're hurting. Mm-hmm. We're not a pleasure-seeking culture. We're a pain-avoiding culture, doing so through pleasure-seeking. So, what are you willing to do? Are you willing to step up? I don't care what age you are. If you're 65 right now and you think your life's over, you're far from the truth. You're wrong. Drop what you're doing right now and say, these are the 3 things I'm going to do this week. Want to make it easier? Start one thing, stop one thing, and cut back on one thing. Try that. Start one thing and do it every single day. Stop one thing and do it every single day. And cut back on one thing every single day. And you will be farther ahead than you could ever imagine. I promise you. Successful people aren't just successful because they were born with a spoon in their mouth.
No.
I could give every single person who's listening to this podcast right now $10 million, and the 99% of you guys are going to blow that $10 million, and you're not going to have it anymore. You're going to lose it. Or best case scenario, you're definitely not going to grow it. And that's not me dogging you. That's because that's what society does. If you look at the stats of the people who've won the lottery,
Oh my gosh.
majority of them are bankrupt within a few years.
Yeah.
And that's just because the people who are playing the lottery trying to win it, majority of them are people who are living on hopes and dreams rather than action. Like literally, if you told me right now I could win the lottery and get $1 billion, would I do it? I mean, it would be stupid to say I wouldn't, but I've thought about that, and honestly, it would scare me because I would rather go earn that $1 billion. I'd rather just still have this passion and drive of me to grow right now, because if you get it, you're going to lose a lot of passion and drive. And then you're going to be avoiding pain by pleasure seeking. You're going to buy a big house. You're going to be possibly getting a drug addiction. You're going to be traveling the world. And then you're going to realize what? None of that scratched the itch. You know what scratches the itch? Living your purpose. Ask Dianne. Dianne, tell him how we talked about this earlier, like how amazing you felt working that same job every single year and not having any hobbies, right? Like it was depressing.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know it at the time, but as soon as that was done, then I knew. Now I know.
When things become the new normal, you think that that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people tell us, and I hate to harp on weight just because I just know the impact of what fitness has in your life. Like, that doesn't mean you're a bad person, right? Like if you have weight on, it doesn't mean that at all. But there is a level of life that you could get to when your body just feels better, because your body's inflamed and fighting back all day long. So you're probably an amazing person. You might be more amazing person than I am right now. Very well could be. But imagine if you dropped 100. Imagine how much more that inspire you. Imagine how much better you'd sleep and feel, and your hormones, your energy, all of that, right? But you don't know how good that feels because the new normal says, I feel pretty good. Mm-hmm. Well, good is the robber of great.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's even just like me. I didn't have very much weight to lose when I started my journey, but I didn't know how good I could feel even just starting to work out, and just made my body feel so much better. You don't know until you do it.
Yeah. I mean, and she only had about 10 to lose. So she was 140 and now she's 130.
But how I feel is tenfold difference.
And it's not the weight. It's
No,
it's the consistency of eating.
Yeah, it's everything. All those habits.
Going to the gym, saying you're going to do something, putting in the workout, and then noticing how that feels.
It just makes you feel so good.
So I want to challenge you today and just say, hey, it's 3 years down the road and I could do anything in life. What would that be? What does that look like for myself? What's that look like for my spouse? Ask your spouse that question. If it's 3 years down the road, we could do anything in life, like anything. If money was an issue, or if anything wasn't an issue, and you literally could do anything in the world 3 years from now, what would that be? Would it be, I guarantee you would have some type of career, but it would just be different. Because a cool story on that is Charles Barkley, when he retired from the NBA, he said, it was awesome. I had all this money. I was playing golf every single day for the first month. And then after 30 days, I was depressed. So he said, I had all the money in the world, all the free time in the world. And I was depressed because he didn't have purpose anymore. So now what is he's an entrepreneur, he's an investor, he's an analyst, he's outliving his purpose. He has an amazing personality that other people are drawn to. He's a gift to be able to talk. If he had just stayed home playing golf all day, he's not impacting anybody's lives anymore. Now he's doing that by impacting lives. So go out there and realize, what is that for you 3 years from now? Ask yourself that and go do it, because you can have that. 3 years? Literally challenge me and say, you got 3 months, dude. And I promise you, if that's on my vision, I'll go make it happen in 3 months. We're putting on an in-person event here in Las Vegas. the weekend of October 20th to 23rd. If you want to come, we're only allowing 6 couples. We already have a couple couples in, so only a couple spots left. If that's you, reach out ASAP. It's not cheap, and you shouldn't want it to be. But here's the thing. We were just talking the other day that we weren't going to do it till next year. At least 6 months away, if not longer. Then somebody mentioned the other day, and I said, I'll do it in February or January. Then later, an hour later, I said, Dianne, let's do it in October. Do we have any free weekends? We have 1 free weekend in October. And I said, let's do it. And we put it together.
Yep.
We made it happen. Put all the logistics together, insurances, rental cars, rented the Airbnb, everything we're going to do all in a day. Flyer, everything, promo, landing pages, everything. If we said we're going to do it, let's make it happen. We didn't drag our feet. If that's the type of person you want to be, come to this event. We're going to strip off all the baggage that you're holding you back. We are going to strip it away of you and your spouse.
And it's going to feel real good.
And we're going to level you up like never before. Like never before. And God's going to show up like never before. And the only people that are going to be allowed in this room are the people that God's calling to be in this room. It's not the first 6 that show up with money. It's the first 6 that show up that are committed in this investment. We're going to interview you. And if you're the person, let's go, because you're going to be in this room. God will have called you, and you have been chosen for a reason. Same with everybody, and I'll watch God move. It's going to be a different event than you've ever been part of. We're going to do some stuff that's going to blow your mind on the mastermind sessions, on some physical stuff, on spiritual stuff, on the mental stuff, and the bonding with you and your spouse. They're going to see new levels of you that you didn't know were there. And then you take that home. That's me asking you how much your marriage means to you and what are you willing to do for it. Ask yourself, what are you willing to do? So whatever you want to do, 3 years, 3 months, whatever it is, you got to go get it. That's being high level. It's just like if you told Elon Musk or Mark Cuban or whoever right now, like, hey, they have an idea. You're not doubting that they're going to do it. You're like, when? But you tell your homie down the street, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing, and they're telling you things they're going to do. Chances are they're not going to do it, and chances are you're not going to do it. Or maybe you are that person, right? Maybe you are that person. Because I wasn't that person for a long time. So when I say that, it's not me like I'm better than you. It's that I wasn't that person. And now that I'm not that person, I don't ever want to go back to that person. Ever. 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 It's so hard. So hard. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for your family. If your marriage is struggling right now, but yet you're depressed and filled with anxiety, the reason your marriage is struggling is one thing. You know where you find out why that is? You get up, you walk into the bathroom, and you look in the mirror. That's why your marriage is struggling. It starts with us. It's not them. It starts with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't want to make this too long. Time. Finish him off with some heat. Give him something. Just tell him just let it come from your heart of like how grateful you are or how it feels to be where you're at. I mean, look, literally, we're looking out at the mountains of Las Vegas. We live on a hill that overlooks the Las Vegas Strip and the lights of Henderson. Like, it's crazy, and that's not about material things. It's about this is what we went and did. And when we bought this house, we were making zero income.
Right. It didn't happen by chance. We made it happen. So go get after your goals and dreams if that's what you desire.
Yeah. And if you desire somebody to help do that, whether you can't come to that event, you want to get in our entry-level program, or you want to be in our high-level program where you're going to get access to us on the daily, reach out on any of the socials, highlevelhusband.com. There's going to be a link in the bio here with these. But whatever you need, just reach out. Maybe that's us. Maybe it's somebody else. It does not matter to me. If you're meant to be with us and you feel like we're the ones to get you there, then let's lock arms. And if you feel like it's somebody else, then 100% be with them.
But at least you're doing something about it.
Because this isn't about my mission. This is about God's mission. And so I don't care if it's through me or whoever else. You go out and you get whatever you deserve. And even if you're living a great life right now, keep pedaling that bike up the hill, because as soon as you stop pedaling, you roll backwards. So we're going to end that today. With that, much love. Peace.
Bye.